mixed media. We're going to do some stuff with things I found on the side of the road. So we're going to paint through them, paint on them, use them for stamping. I've got a bunch of just things that I collect in the studio for just this sort of occasion. And I'm looking forward to just kind of painting. I don't know what I'm doing exactly today, paint-wise, and what material I'm going to use, but I have all of this to play with. So I say, let's get to painting. What do you say? You say it's time to get painting? Time to get painting. So behind the scenes there is my dear wife, Kristen.
Hello.
And she is the tech guru of the land.
Yeah.
The entirety of the land, as she is. So I have some scraps of different paintings that I've done, and I've kind of ripped up and such. And I don't see what I wanted, which was some gesso or something.
Hi, yeah, it's been a while since we've seen you. Welcome back.
I'm just gonna throw, hi, whoever that is, hello. I'm just gonna throw this on here with some paint. It'll be fine. What I do if I do a mixed media piece is I'll come back later and I'll seal it, number one, and then number two, put a varnish over the top that kind of helps seal everything and lock it all in place. So normally I would try and use some acrylic medium to do this, but apparently didn't set it up before the show today. So we're going to do it this way.
Sunday.
Yeah, it is. It's been a weird kind of Sunday. I've already got paint on my hand. Our kid is in the background. If you hear random screams and such, he's on the monitor over there, over in the house. So we can keep an eye on him because he's trying to sneak chocolate.
What kind of kid does it? Hi, Bettina. Nice to see you.
So I have a roller. This is just flat white, and I'm going to roll right through this.
Ooh.
And just get some texture in here. And like I said, I don't know what I'm doing exactly today. Most days I don't know what I'm doing, I guess. But today I didn't know what to do for the show. I've done a lot of product specialty shows lately. We did the Rembrandt soft pastels recently, and that was a lot of fun to do. But today I wanted to just play, and we've talked about this, right? Create without fear, whatever that means to you, and create inspiration.
Yeah.
Hear the monkey boy in the background?
Hi, welcome from Sweden.
Hello.
Since we've seen you too. Oh, no, we didn't hear that.
So we talked about create without fear. It's a hashtag we use. We encourage others to use it. And we're going to start a workshop this summer called Create It Without Fear. What's the rest of the tagline?
Shaping your creativity.
That's right. So that's going to happen. We're in the process of finishing setting that up. And that's going to be particularly around here in Duluth, the local show. And then we're going to do that also. I think we're going to end up trying to do some traveling with that workshop as well. So if you're interested, keep your ears open. Go to the website and sign up for the emails, because that'll also get you into what we're up to. Did I say that all right? I said that right?
I think so.
You think so? So now I've put this flat white, it's just a flat white paint, and I keep a bucket of it right next to me. I don't know if they can see that. And I usually pour it from the gallon cans into this. And it's a good base to play with and work with, and it's not that expensive. It's just a nice way to get a white involved with it. And I don't like a glossy white. You like a glossy white when painting? It looks plastic.
Well, sometimes I want it to look plastic.
Do you want it to look plastic
Sometimes
sometimes?
I do.
Huh. So we did that. That was fun. And then I have some black paint here. So I'm going to make a couple of marks with this. This is watered down black. It's just junky paint that I had. And that's part of the thing today is that I'm going to work on junk stuff. Because I cleaned the studio this week. Actually, yesterday. You can't see it right now, but it's definitely
He
cleaner.
says this every week. I'm not sure he's making any art anymore. I think he cleans the studio.
Oh, really?
Uh-huh.
It's because you don't come and visit very often.
Ah,
Okay, let's take that off. There we go. Should be a little bit of pattern in there. flip this up and I can actually do some more patterns. Press that right on. Different sort of pattern.
Hola. Pilar.
That gives us a little bit of weird pattern there. My hands have a nice pattern, so why not? We'll put that in there. Look at that.
And it's always encourage questions. If you have any questions today, guys, just let us know.
Got a little Latin type music going on in the background. Yeah, I don't know what I'm doing today. I really don't. I'm just gonna kind of do stuff and answer questions if there are any. And I'm gonna wet this down. I'm gonna use some of my soft pastels from Rembrandt. I'm just gonna draw some structure in here. I've been fascinated for a while with ruins, old ruins, castles, Roman architecture, old Greek architecture, old French, all that stuff. Mayan for quite some time. And you'll see that influence a lot, as well as the nature lately of our area. So we've got a lot of nature in our area. I just posted the view of the Leicester River again.
Yeah.
And because it was just too cool. So I made a post today about the river just down the street, within walking distance to us. And it's really cool. I'm dragging my handle on this too. That way it kind of blends as I go and creates a softer type of structure. Should have power right there. Oh, I see what you're saying. It's no
One bar.
power for you. So that's just that charcoal. Do a little something over here. And one of the reasons I work my pastels and charcoal into wet is because of the dust. I have very bad asthma now. I didn't used to have such bad asthma, and I'm convinced between our other company that we had for many years, which was outdoors a lot in dusty conditions, because it was open construction sites, right?
Yeah.
So I think that didn't help. And then my art itself was, I think, creating some issues that I didn't even realize. So different aerosol paints. For example, this is a viaduct up here. I saw a picture of one recently. That was great. Now all we have to do is see them in the real world, right?
Welcome all of the new people today. Nice to see new faces and old.
So we're throwing some of this in. We'll get some more color on here in a minute. But anyway, I started to spritz my surface when I work with the charcoal and pastel, so I don't make the dust. And that doesn't aggravate my asthma as much. So as an artist or anybody, be aware of what you're breathing and around. I was also a ceramic artist as well. So I mean, I was double whammy as far as exposure to different kinds of lung problems.
Yeah.
So now I'm on medications and such to combat it, but now I'm very careful. My point is, this was a solution I found by spritzing it with a little water and then drawing through it. And I actually really like the effects that it does a lot. I'm really excited about that. And we forgot to turn
Oh, Columbia.
the blower off.
Welcome. Hello.
The blower for the.
That's okay. Sorry for the heater noise, guys. Because even though it's almost May, there's snow outside.
You see how absolutely gorgeous that blue is, right? And that's from the soft pastel from Rembrandt's, and I'm just working into the wet again. Wet surface. And you can see the difference. I'll do it up here. So there it is right there. I don't know if you can see that, right? Now you could spritz that and then rub it in and create some nice shading. You can work it in. You can see you can work that right into the got a hand cramp already, babe.
That was an army jet.
Yeah. We got the local Air National Guard here doing their maneuvers. But I like it better when it's free to do that. And look at how nice that is. Anyway, so I love working with that stuff. Whew, and a cramp big time today.
Oh, pull up she did yesterday.
Yeah. Yeah.
I thought you were 20 for a minute there, didn't you?
A couple of younger kids at one of our friends' house talking about the pull-up bar that I noticed. Of course, being a dumb old guy. So, oh, yeah, I used to do reps of 20 of those when I was training. I did 5 in 2 different ways, and now I'm really in a lot of pain today. Stuff we do. And this is some of that really, really fun neon orange. Just going to add a little color in here and there. I like my color. Anybody that's followed us forever, I usually do a lot of color. Working it right into that white. So the other thing I like to do, because I'm kind of a lazy painter, to be honest, I don't have a lot of patience. I think that's the ADD for sure. She laughs. But I'll blend right on this. So the painting becomes my palette, is what I'm trying to say, right? So I'll just pick up paint from other areas, bring it over, and I enjoy the effects that it makes. And it's good because I don't have the patience to be that kind of painter that really works hard on blending realism things. And I can do realism. I've done it. I was classically trained. I hear a boy in the background.
Yeah.
I'm going to glance at the.
Actually, this is acrylic paints and soft pastels into a wet surface.
Yeah. We got a little white latex here too. That's the white is that base layer that I threw down. And if white gesso works well, it's because I work so large. I find that the white gesso frankly a little cost prohibitive. Even with our ambassadorship with Royal Talons, it gets pricey. I'd rather spend my money, to be honest, on the really awesome colors, the acrylic colors, the Cobra. Water mixable oils, for example. I want the pigments more than the white. And I still use it when it really matters. I will use that high quality white. But if I'm just doing a base like this, I'll just play with it. Let's see, we have some yellow left over from something I did recently. Oh, we're going to have exciting. I was hoping to do live today. These are called. There's a specialty acrylic series, and it's a pearl blue, other pearl colors, and these are amazing. We did a short, right? A reel,
Yeah.
I guess a reel, TikToks, other things, using this on a black gesso, and the results, I'm looking at it in the background, they're absolutely phenomenal. So there's a show going to be about this coming up very soon, not just a reel. So there's going to be, today we couldn't do it. We couldn't arrange it today. Okay, so this is some yellow, some really gorgeous Naples gold. This is acrylic I had left over. So I put it in here. Didn't use all of it. That'll turn off in a minute, the heater.
I just turned it off.
Oh, yeah. And I tend to be really awful with my brushes.
He is abusive.
Very abusive with my brushes. So I don't know why. That's a dirty yellow. Dirty yellow. Let's try and do something a little different. Let's put it in with. Yellow's really hard to work with. Anyone else have that issue? Yellow's very difficult to. Just for fun, I'm going in now and I'm playing with these squares. Right? I'm playing. This is what Create Without Fear is about. It's about just playing, seeing what happens, experimenting. Even if you're a professional artist, doing the same kind of thing because you need to make your quotas, your pieces for the gallery, next gallery show, or whatever, or your commission. I think it's really important to allow yourself that time to explore. You really need that time to explore. I think. Maybe I'm wrong. But I don't think I'm wrong. So some of this stuff will get layered up with the different layers, and we'll over time this painting will develop. This will be one I'm sure that takes a long time to finish off because of the method I'm approaching right now. I'll put that right back in the big vat of water. And unfortunately, I'm really terrible about mixing my oil-based ones with my acrylic ones, but I use a water mixable oil, so I'm able to throw it into the water. And these are good quality brushes, so they don't rust out on me, thankfully, and they don't get all weirded out of the shapes. But it's not the best way to care for your brushes. I always say I'll show you every way to not do something. Phthalo green. Nope, nothing left in that. Phthalo green. So let's get a little bit of that down in here. And what I like about phthalo, it's a very nice color, particularly stuff from Amsterdam. You get the expert series. This is the standard series. You get the expert series. Very, very high pigmentation that allows you to really play with colors. Let's just kind of move that around. It's like we have some trees maybe that are melting their snow out. Like we're really hoping to see soon, right?
Oh, that'd be so nice.
So I think I posted something about the snow recently. Look how pretty it is. My trees are a little square today. I think that's just fine. Working it right down into that black that I threw on. That helps give it some shade, some different variations, some appearance of depth. And I can change my blade angle to create different kinds of structure within that. Those pull-ups did me in.
That'll teach you good.
Yeah, I know, right? No, probably not. I won't teach me at all. This is kind of an abstract. I've been looking at a lot on in France, Italy, Spain, Portugal, and even the Scandinavian countries at different properties. And I just love the terrain that you get in those old buildings and houses. I mean, there's just history there. It's absolutely incredible. And so I like to work that in to the pieces a lot more as time has progressed and working more and more into that, into my abstract work. So I guess I do like straightforward abstract, and then I have like abstract representation, right? How many do you guys do a lot of different kinds? Do you do a lot of different kinds of styles?
Me? Yeah, I never really settled on it. Although I really am.
Are you a realist at heart? I actually didn't know that. Let's take a little powdered pigment, and I'm going to be careful not to breathe a bunch of this. Sprinkle that around a little bit. And then we'll put a little bit more down here to kind of balance it out a little bit.
So that's tempera pigment, correct?
No, this is,
What is that?
I think this is,
Just pigment powder?
I think it's a pigment powder. Yeah. You know, like I said, I'm using random stuff that we've collected over the years or things that people have sent to us to work with, you know. I'm just going to spritz that down. This is where technically I should probably have a little breather mask on because even if I'm spraying it with water, it poofs into the powder and makes it an aerosol. And then that stuff can go right into your lungs. And that's why I said you really need to be careful of that kind of thing as an artist. Be aware of the safety. You see I wear gloves now. And my kiddo, when he and I paint together or sculpt, he got his first piece
In
in
a show.
a show just recently. We were there at the reception Friday. 4 foot by 5 foot piece that he and I did on a whim one day out in the yard. So it was a joint piece. But he did a lot of it. I just let it. So we had dirt and twigs and sand and like small squirrels. And I'm kidding about the squirrels. Please, no animal rights people attack me. And it was so much fun And it turned out really nice. He did a really good job. And so we actually submitted it, and it got in. And after it got in, I told the organizer, who was actually a friend of ours, I said, "Hey, by the way, did you realize that my 4-year-old? I mean, granted, I was in peace too, but I'm not really feeling the brown today, so that's why back into there. Let's get a little orange on here and bring that orange pastel into the thing. Soft pastel. You know what I should have done maybe today is something to do with the water media, the gouache. We have a lot of gouache that I really like. I'll do that. That's what I was going to do. Just defining some areas with this really fun gouache. Gesture marking. Oh, babe. No, I'm okay.
Are you?
Yeah.
Are you really?
I don't know. It's Sunday morning. This is an unusual day for us.
Yes, I'm really.
Definitely different.
Try it.
Come out of there. There's the deep turquoise.
Thank you for the follows, guys.
So if you can afford it, the other thing I suggest is to buy your paint in jugs, bigger jugs, because instead of the little tubes, like these sample tubes. Because then you can dip your brush in them, you can dump it, pour it out, you can transfer it to other things, you can transfer it to other things, mix it, thin it, so forth. But then you get down to the bottom, there's still a residue of the paint in there. I don't care if it's oil or if it's you can't buy oil really in a jar. It's always in the tube. I think they should put anyway, then you can add water and you can mix that up and have yourself a wash to do an initial sketching, if you will, or to work over something. I'm going to take a little bit of this and wash. Just to make some random adjustments. I don't really know what I'm doing. I'm having fun. I'm happy to be here. Some gestures through there. Let's put some more down here. Take terrible care of my brushes.
Yeah.
And another little tool I was going to show you today are these little, you get these things at the paint store. And I use these for a very long time. They're very cheap, little foam brushes and such. And even after they get used, I'll save them and I can cut patterns into them, for example, with a blade. In fact, I can do that if I have a blade. You can use the texture or the different shapes there to make textures in your paint, which is kind of fun. You may have seen a few people out there doing this with rollers. I think it's a really great, fun tool. So after you use them, maybe before you use them, you can do this. Cut little notches in it, make patterns into it, and then you can take and use this. And I'll show you what I'm going to do. I'm going to grab one of the rollers. Probably should have kept that knife out, huh? Oh boy. I always tell my son, cut away from your hand. It's probably good advice. I should take that myself. There we go. And these are good too for him because I don't, they're really inexpensive. So I have down here, and I'm just going to roller that out. And look at that. Look at the way that.
So can you slow down so I can zoom in, please?
Yeah. Ready? Set. You ready?
No.
So check that out. So I'm just picking the color up and I'm moving it across in this really fascinating, really fun way. I think it's just a lot of fun to do. It adds another additional layer, and you can then mix it. You could do just like I do with the palette mix. And you can soften areas with this too. that soften up. Because when you soften a certain area and then you have hard edge in others, that will create a kind of a feeling of depth. That's a fun, simple color right there. Let's do this up here with that. Use the edge and press the color into that. And now, that's a place to put that. So this is the one with the grooves on it, right? So I don't know. Let's look at this. Where do we want to do this? Let's do it right here. Pull it down. And now you can see I've created some fun lines, structure within the piece. And that also picks the paint up and then moves it from place to place. So if you work with what you have on the painting, you can move paint around it. You can transfer it from one place to the other. So I think that's pretty cool. Christy does a lot with these. And I can also do some more pressing. This, create a little bit more texture in there. Smaller, and you probably won't see that on. So now let's do something more. This is some of the different things that I have available that are, so we can do white or we can do black. I didn't prep the black, of course. I apparently don't know how to prep today.
It's a little early for that.
I'm not really working, but it's Sunday, and you typically don't really work on Sundays doing the show, right?
We usually do the show.
Just not this early. Yeah, that's that black gesso right there. Put that in there because I want to do some stamping with it. Doesn't matter what color you use. I'm going to take this handy, really inexpensive roller, and I'm going to pick up some of that paint, just like that. And then I like this texture right here, so I'm going to work with that. I'm going to roller this on. That, I'm liberal with it so it transfers over a little bit. Find a nice spot to do that. Let's do that right down in here. And now we can have some instant surface, instant texture, line, so forth. So I'm going to take it the other way now. This crisscross it a little bit. Gives it a little bit more interest there. I think I'm going to throw a little bit over there. Yeah, I like that. That's a lot of fun, right? But you can also use something like this, and this would be a very simple way to create another line. So this is a very simple template. And I didn't get my other colors ready, of course, so I'm just going to use that same roller. Now I can create nice. And then we have that. Another simple tool. Another tool I like a lot. I like to use spray a lot, but I can't in here because, again, the asthma, and it would actually transfer. That makes it good for us all. So I'm going to do this. Very simple little stamp that I have. I think I'm going to actually, I picked up some color you can see. And I'm going to, again, take the black. Just get that all over this. This little piece of cardboard reminded me so much of like an old house with arch castle ruins. Look at this. You gotta check this out. Look at that. Doesn't that kind of look like a castle?
It does.
So now I'm going to take this right down in here in the forest. We've got our forest kind of line. You know, I'm looking at everything, trying to determine the arrangement. Now I'm going to press that in. Press, 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 press. Or as my kid says, fix, fix, fix. I'm pretending to like fix it, repair thing. Okay, so I don't like that as well as I thought. But what I'm going to do now that I have that in place is I'll take the brush and I'm going to work that black in there a little bit more. Again, buildings, right? I've been talking about the buildings a lot lately. Let's do one continuous line. Do a line, always look ahead of your brush, not at the brush. Let's do this. Line through there. Little gesture. I'm not even looking. And someone would say, well, that's obvious. Let's get a little some mark making. I need to let it loose a little bit. I'm feeling tense. So one of my favorite marking tools is an old egg crate. Love these things. They're a lot of fun to use. And they've got all these little points. You see, I've used them many times. And because these are also a fiber, they tend to like kind of absorb paint a little more than some things. I've been using that side. I'm going to use this side today. I'm going to set it down here. Just do this, press it in. But I'm going to put some color in the back of this. I want to do some. I need a fun color. What's a fun color? What color should I throw into this mix? Crazy mix.
There isn't like bright blue. There's like dark blues. I don't see any bright.
Oh, bright blue. We could do a bright blue, or we could go crazy and put copper.
There you go.
I want to do some copper droplets. Can't open that with my gloves. Prep time, right? I didn't know what I was doing exactly. I kind of sort of had a concept. Throw that right on the ground. Someone will pick it up later. I'm in one of those moods today, you know what I mean?
I wish I could have a mood.
Weird mood today. Put that on there. Copper. And I need another roller. Do I have another roller? I made a big mess here, didn't I? If you go have one there, that's
If I look on this camera,
oh, that's kind of unfortunate. I should solve that problem. Yeah, I had an idea. I think I do. I can use this one. I let it go. You can tell what day of the week it
you're
is.
like slap happy.
That's it. This is Sunday's usually kind of our, well, it's gotten busy lately, but I usually used to just try and beat Sunday. Now,
Like one of my bosses asked me yesterday, what are the weekend plans? And I'm like, you've seen my schedule. I'm like, working for you? It's pretty much my schedule. That's what I'm doing all weekend.
yeah, and then if you're not doing that, then working with me on ours,
Uh-huh.
so I was looking all over the place lately. That's kind of fun already. I haven't even done anything, and that's fun. I want to get lots on there. Now, I probably could have used a palette brush or something like that.
Oh, but it's not as fun as a roller.
Yeah, and truth be told, if I know I'm doing one of the big pieces, like the big 8-foot pieces, right?
Yeah.
Or the big 12 by 9s, I'll prep big pans of this stuff, and that way I can just dip it in there, right? But clearly that prep time for something smaller didn't happen. So now we're gonna find a good place to put this. I'm feeling like we put a little bit here, I put part of it down. That nice subtle background on that one. Now let's get it right in here and see what happens with the black. So the more you let it dry between your layers, the easier it is to get the colors to show up. Right now we're compressing painting time down, so sometimes the results aren't quite exactly what I want to see. This is a valuable tool to use. Work. Try and bring this over here. There, that made some marks in there. So that's another tool I like. I like to use this to spray through. I think that's a lot of fun too. But I'm not going to spray. All right, fine. I am.
Never spray. I'm not gonna spray.
I'm not gonna spray today.
Yes, I am. I can start any time though. Hi, Bashy. So, does anybody like this time of the day for us to do this? It's a fun time to do this.
Stay away from that pillow. All right, here we go. So there we have that. Now I have paint on this side, so I can repeat that form. Somewhere I'm gonna do like a 2 moon thing. I'm gonna stamp. Oh God, I can smell it. That's not good. Yeah. Windows blocked by the paint. I don't know. Maybe lost. No, I can't even.
I'll lock it. Open the
Man.
window.
That's just an acrylic spray, but again, with my allergy things, that's probably dumb to do. One of my asthma things.
I'm a little too excited, huh?
Yeah, I did. They needed it though. Look, it's much better now. Let's unify the piece.
How do you get a bird?
Ken had the birds. Birds are crazy right now.
We live in under a migration pattern, one of the largest in the world, this kind of year. So, positively happy. That's a nice thing.
Oh, is that someone's? You like their handles. You like seeing those people. You know. Plus, it's fun to know where people are from. Give a shout out where you're from if you're new. Even if you're not,
That's
shout
right,
out.
Kim. I'm sorry. I met so many people who I forgot. Yeah, I kind of like this time too. I don't know if we like it. Missouri.
Depends
Come
on-
here.
Depends on why people show up. You know, if enough people show up to this today, and then the numbers are good, because let's face it, social media seems broken. It was good. You know, we used to have great numbers, like most of us that are creators, and it has gotten kind of difficult. And my wife works in the industry, so she is. You know, everybody's struggling.
Lincoln Park, Michigan.
Oh yeah, hey Lincoln Park, that's back home.
Yeah.
Well, home is here now, but
Yeah, I have missed it. I don't know why.
that is a little
I'm
weird.
homesick. I don't get
That's a little weird for you.
it. It's-
We're so excited. to go on.
It's not the place. I miss the mushroom guy.
Oh yeah, and our fishmonger too.
I miss the fishmonger, and I miss the really good South American restaurant. And I miss the fromage.
Well, which is weird because you know we have phenomenal restaurants here in Duluth, considering.
Yeah.
And we have the Twin Cities just down the road a bit, so to speak. They're down in south of us 2.5 hours.
I can be sure.
It'd be nice to have it. It was weird just because before we left that area, the cheese person came in,
Yeah.
which were friends of ours actually, as it turned out.
Great.
And then and a number of other things kind of were happening. And like, really, now that we're going, now that we've decided,
I think the list is different.
I don't know. As far as I know, they don't have one.
No, they don't.
Have you?
I think the day what I really want to do.
You want to make fish? I mean, not fish, cheese.
I don't want to make cheese. I want to sell cheese and make sure.
Come on.
I would enjoy it a lot.
So,
Hours are reasonable.
yeah. I didn't actually know that. I just learned something about my wife on the show.
I realized
Really
it
didn't
last
know that.
night. I was like, you know what I want to do? That's what I want to do. I want to open a cheese shop. It's a strange desire. That's what I want.
You lost me, babe. You lost me.
Come on, you could do it like a two.
It really wouldn't take much as long as you had,
Oh,
you
you
know,
can
a good
start on
supply.
Facebook Marketplace.
God, the travel shows we've watched lately, like
Stanley Tucci got
Stanley
my
Tucci,
brain.
yeah.
That's what happened.
Has anybody seen that, by the way? The Discovery in Italy, is that what he says? Stanley Tucci's show. It's on.
Discovering Italy. I think it's called that.
I think that's what it is. You can find it if you go to Discovery Plus, and it's a CNN original show, I think. I had to
Oh,
think.
I've lost everybody when I start talking about.
You lose everybody?
I'm sorry. I'll stop talking about my love. Quality cheese and quality.
Nah, I think you're part of me. So now I'm picking up and doing some edge detail. I'm putting some different highlights in areas. Some of that might be difficult for you to see, but we get the question frequently is, I'd like to see how you finish things, or at least do finish work. And this is part of that process. It always seems like an abstract artist, it happens really, really fast, right? Like boom, and oh, look at the art, and we're always kind of vilified for that, if you will. But there's more involved in that. I spend hours lately, and this is one of the reasons it's clean, because I actually finished paintings. Well, for the moment.
I don't believe a word he says.
So they're finished for the moment. But there's just hours and hours, and we have a joke, right? When you come in,
We just always do it.
I'm always sitting down when she comes in the door.
Like, are you sure you're working over here?
Apparently not. Sitting on my butt again. But a lot of it's sneaking up on the paintings. That's what I call it all the time. Sneaking up. I'm looking for a color. Everybody bear with me. Looking for something to play with. Again, it's not dry yet, so it's a little harder to make color. It's kind of a fleshy tone. A lot of times I'll use this to give the impression that it could be some sort of a human. I got a couple different kinds of flesh tone I use. And I think that it's kind of representational of that idea. Another one I like to use. It's a little bit along that line, a little different. Get another one in there. Explain it's really dark there. Whoops. That's all right. That's part of the art now. Some overlap with some of these. Create some nice texture, just like in the real world. We need some nice texture right now. Blending different ideas, tolerance of ideas.
Hi. Welcome. On our normal time.
Yeah, thanks everybody for showing up, by the way. Give a shout out again.
Where are you from?
Where you're from. If you're an artist, tell us what your handle is. We'll check you out. And also, if you have a show come up, let us know here. We're happy to kind of push your show on air right now. Your upcoming show. And this is a soft pastel that I'm trying desperately to actually draw with. Making some highlights. And there's a point I like that's just not quite dry yet. A little bit dry so that the soft pastels will transfer into it. But it also picks up kind of that wet paint, and it'll move that paint with it. It helps blend it, and it keeps the powder, the dust down. Okay.
Yeah.
Because I don't want any dust in my mouth.
Oh, I know you're from New Jersey, Angela.
Hey, how are you? A lot of people, the season's getting going, right, for a lot of artists. And a lot of people have shows coming up, a lot of shows. I'm going to ruin this now, I've decided.
Sorry.
And I'm going to just destroy it. Put that on there. That's what people have. I hear suspicious activity.
He's up to something in there. Probably building a giant blanket for it. We'll lose our couch again.
I'm going to highlight, just kind of smack some highlights in there. It's a very technical painter's term.
Yeah.
Picking up some of this very bright reflex. It's like a neon. Some people call it neon. Some people call it fluorescent. Just smacking some highlights on the tree, these little tree forms that I put on. Nice, nice, nice. Again, these are nice, inexpensive tool. You don't have to have a bazillion dollars to make stuff. You can do it with your junk drawer. Point is, create without fear. Just start doing it. Just do it.
I'm so sorry to hear
I don't know.
that's crazy. You're losing your couch to Hot Wheels tracks. That has happened to us as well.
Yeah, stairwell becomes quite treacherous at times. That's a whole nother story, right? And since this is that paper, remember the paper that I put down here? I can actually, it's wrinkled because it's getting quite wet from the paints. And now I can actually work with that wrinkle and highlight it. So as this dries too, I can come back in and I can use that paper surface to my advantage to create some really interesting textures.
Yes, Angela's correct. Nobody ever lets you jump out of your sight when you're in public. That's understandable.
Oh, geez. Yeah, never, yeah, male or female, doesn't matter. And your okay, what was I doing now?
I don't know, but I'm curious if the Hot Wheels tracks are motorized or if all the analog.
Oh, yeah. We got a motorized one that makes a lot of racket that drives absolutely bonkers. The noise
It does.
from it.
And I bought the toy.
Yeah, it's her fault. She bought it. There we go. Got some of this color
Yeah,
here.
you wouldn't think somebody like that would be targeted. I'm sorry.
And so over here, I'm taking and brushing. Remember, there's that soft pastel in there. It's like a charcoal. You can use a charcoal too. I mean, it's a similar sort of thing. I'm just creating these pillars. You can see because of the paint on here, my hand's not so steady because I still have a lot of coffee going.
I want more coffee. I was like, I'm gonna bring a beverage with me. And I was like, oh, we're out of sparkling water. And then I forgot that coffee existed. This is your sign you get coffee.
That is a sure sign. So because I have the brush loaded, picking up the charcoal in the middle and the brushes, but then the excess paint on the outside is creating highlights on the outside. So it's an interesting way to quickly get structure just with the brush and the paint without having to blend and blend. Like I said, I'm basically a lazy painter. Do something here. I'm going to take some highlights like this. A little bit of highlight for these arches. Maybe a nice little top part in the arch. Dome. If you don't like it, scrape it off. I don't like that. So let's
Over it.
scrape it off, paint it off, do something crazy with it afterwards. Do some gesture stuff.
It's not sacred. It's just art.
It's not, yeah, it's not a sacrosanct situation. It's just your fun. You're supposed to be having fun doing this. Right? I'm going to add some squares down here in this dark spot. A lot of you are like, he's using a brush. He never uses a brush. Be a little stick ahead. This is true. I'm having a lot of trouble with lines today. Where if I was painting, I would give up and I would just try and just go crazy. Throw the paint around. Eventually find what I need it to be. So isn't this cool down here with the paint, the spray, the acrylic spray that you're doing? It's very neat. That was an excuse for the kid.
I'm excited for that.
So where are we at with all this, Kristen?
No, I mean, we're at 15 minutes.
Highlight. kind of pick up, highlight with the copper in a few spots. Make some interesting texture into it too. I like my texture. Just a little tickle with this thing. Let's see what happens. Bringing the copper down here, this edge.
The snow is almost gone.
Is it really?
Some people still have a few feet. Our yard is not bad. But yeah, it's still snowy. We have another snowstorm.
Vito in there, make some marks now.
Anybody have any questions or want to say anything before we sign off shortly?
Yeah, I had fun. Let us know if you think this time frame is good. Stay tuned for some guest artists that are going to be painting with me soon. That happens in May, I believe, towards the end of May. We're going to have some visiting artists again. A lot of them were on vacation over the winter, so our artist program, our visiting artist program, wasn't going on. But we're about to start it back up, which is really exciting. I get to do some more painting with people. If you look back on our history, you'll find some others. Sue Rauschenfels, Margie Hellstrom, the Lake Superior Abstract Group was in for last summer's show. And so we have some exciting people lined up for that. And we're going to be working, coming up very soon, with the Amsterdam Pearlescent acrylic paints. Super exciting, over a black gesso. And that's going to be really neat. There is a short, you'll see a short about it on all the platforms, or reel, or whatever you want to call it, right? Whatever it is. And so that's coming up. Stay tuned for that. I appreciate all of you coming. Also check back and see what I do with this mess over the week. I'll post some pictures and stories of it. Thank you all for coming. I'm David Austin, davidaustingallery.com. That is Kristen, my beautiful wife and partner in all of this craziness of the art world. Be well, be kind to each other, and we are going to see you later. Take care. Bye-bye.